focus. Ideate, innovate, enable. YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
In a world where technology is disrupting every industry, just simply adapting technology is not enough at all. Businesses must embrace far-reaching digital transformation to remain competitive and unlock new possibilities. We're privileged here to host a panel of leaders from across the spectrum who are going to share their unique experiences and strategies for driving transformation within their organizations. So please welcome Gaurav Kushwaha, the CEO and founder of Bluestone, Akash Sinha, the CEO and co-founder of Cashfree, Matthew Chandy, the MD of Duroflex Private Limited, and Harsh Jain, the co-founder of Grow. Okay, Harsh, since you're sitting there in the corner, let me just start with you quickly because you're an online-first company as opposed to maybe Duroflex and some of the others here. But how are you harnessing the power of digital for growth? How are you using, if you could give our audience examples, some of the newer technologies like artificial intelligence, maybe generative AI, ML, etc., to tailor investment solutions for your clients?
We are obviously an online platform. Everything is technology. We are technology first and finance second as a company. So I remember early days when we were just starting 2017 and we were going to a lot of like venture capitalists and all. People were at that time talking about ML and AI and used to come back and say, hey, how can we put ML, to make our pitch interesting? And so on and so forth. So a lot of discussions went on this high technology terms, but ultimately what makes things simpler, accessible, and delightful for people to be able to use are the ones which solves problems. So it's not really always the hardcore technology which goes inside, which I think all the systems that each one of us will be building, backend will be like super extensive technology, the personalizations, the nuances, innovations that you'll bring in will have technology. But the larger play of the technology comes in understanding the consumer and understanding the behavior and kind of making it for easy and simple for them to be able to use.
Is that helping you overtake the likes of Zerodha?
It's a huge, consumer. I mean, we spoke about the country and the aspirations that Indians have today. And still the participation into the capital market is just increasing to see, it's just, beginning of it. In the next few years, 20, 25 years is going to be much more exciting for us.
Akash, what about you? I mean, of course, you're a fintech, so we assume you're using technology. But tell us how you're using it to scale to meet the requirements of every large to small businesses. How are you tailoring solutions for them?
See, we just don't use technology. We also sell technology. That is the service we provide. So I think we are building the platform which help any businesses use internet to grow the business. That is the business we are in. And given that we sell technology, we also have to use technology in a way which makes the entire process of building the technology easier and also distributing it easier, right? So that is like bread and butter for us. And see, and for you to scale in this internet world, global world, right? If you don't use a technology, your quality of service may not be high enough. Your cost would continue to increase. At the same time, you would be not so fast to innovate, right? So these are the ways we use technology to predict what are the next things we can do. We can use technology we use to predict what kind of experience we can provide to our customer and our merchants. And technology we use to how do you make it safer, right? See, in the industry of payments, fraud and risk has become a bigger issue, right? I think given that there are a lot of large set of people who are using internet and payments for the first time, it becomes very important for us to protect that confidence and make sure that trust is there so that more and more people participate in this ecosystem. And it becomes like a flywheel, right? It more and more customers participate in the ecosystem, that it also encourages businesses to explore this ecosystem and internet to grow their business.
Okay, I'll give the online first players a break and ask you, Matthew, because you started as a traditional, good old mattress selling company in the very brick and mortar form that you did. And now you're in the middle of this transformation where you're going online. You have your online only brand as well that has come up. You're also transitioning from this family-run business to a more professional entity. Tell us how a company like Duroflex is adapting digital.
So sure, we started in bricks and mortar, but that was my grandfather. So I think we are all much younger and we were born in this digital age. So I think adopting digital for us has been much easier and it came much more naturally. So while we're a 60-year-old business, I think we've got the heart of a startup. And I think every day we've got the customer at the center and we keep saying, how do we use technology to serve them much better? So while we don't build any technology ourselves, so we're not a technology first business, I think we're always searching for ways to use the best technology to be more cost efficient, to be faster, and to really serve customers really well. So I think, just to give you an example, so today I just came back from one of the first factories that we automated. So in 2014, we had a headcount of 400 in that factory, and we produced about 200 tons of polyurethane foam. Today, we produce about 7.5 times of that volume, and the headcount is 280. And you actually don't see a lot of people over there. So I think this idea that you can really bring the best technology and implement it in your manufacturing and use that to serve the markets much better, much faster, at a much lower cost is very real. We use artificial intelligence to make all our cameras in retail smart. So we've considerably improved all our retail metrics, footfalls, conversions, heat maps. So I think technology comes easily to us. We're quite obsessed with finding what's the best thing.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to focus on the point that your headcount has come down from 400 to 280. Okay, Gaurav, jewelry is something that traditionally you'd expect someone to go touch and feel, check the light, everything. And you're talking about diamonds and gold. You're not talking about artificial jewelry. How did you envisage this online digital transformation to help scale your business?
So we started in 2011 as an online-only brand. I think the idea that it had to be a brand and not a retail play or not a marketplace was absolutely clear. So we had our own design, we had our own manufacturing facility all the way. I think 1 or 2 years after starting the business, we had set up our own manufacturing also. We decided that everything needed to be very controlled. Now there were and online was actually online picked up in a good way for us. I think we did a lot of innovations, be it about how to visualize the product, how to present the product beautifully so that woman or a customer would actually love the product and decide to buy it. And online was growing very, very strongly. I think one of the signals that we started seeing somewhere around 2015-16 was when we spoke to a lot of our customers, and we spoke to buyers and we spoke to people who spent considerable time consuming those designs online, looking at those designs, shortlisting those designs, but the ones who did not end up purchasing. And in our data, for every one person who was purchasing, there were around 30 to 40 who were exhibiting the same behavior, but were not converting. So when we spoke to the folks who were converting, and the signals were very clear that they loved the fact that they could actually browse through 2,000, 3,000 designs, which one could not do in the offline world. The jewelry still has a very kind of high pressure selling environment. You enter a jewelry shop, you are asked what is your budget, what the product you are looking for, and then few trays, and you have to shortlist. And that kind of experience was pretty much there in every other category 40 years back, a counter-driven experience, which is now replaced with aisles. Jewelry, unfortunately, that did not happen, while the consumers moved to browsing first and then buying later. So online was catering to that very, very beautifully, and some people who had the courage or brave enough were also buying online. But most of the folks did not. So with all that, I think online was solving for this browsing beautifully, which the offline was not catering to. But when we spoke to that other cohort, which was 30 to 40 times of the buyers, and we spoke to them, their reasons to consume, their reasons to spend time online on the portal were all same. The reasons to not buy was the top 3 reasons to not buy were: number 1, touch and feel. How can we buy something for 40, 50, 60,000 rupees without touching and feeling it? And then there were 2 more. One was, let's say, if I need to change the ring size, or if there's a minor repair which is needed, where would I go? Typically, the service providing aspect is also catered by the same jeweler. And I think something similar happened to Xiaomi also. And I was speaking with Manu some time back, and they said they had to have service centers. They could sell online, not a problem. But if something goes wrong with the product, you have to have service centers also. And then number 3rd, which is very peculiar to the country, is a lot of women in the country, they exchange their old jewelry to buy the new jewelry or to buy a new design. So that where would we go with that? So I think the The writing was on the wall that for the same demand that we are generating, for the love that we were generating for our designs, by not having an offline channel also, we were possibly curtailing the business to a much, much, much smaller size compared to what was actually possible.
I mean, it's interesting because to my left, you have people who are offering services. So I suppose it's much easier to do online than physical goods. But Matthew, would you agree with what he's saying? I mean, without a physical presence, you can't be an online-only brand. People want to come sleep on the mattress and see how soft it is.
I think just like jewelry, a premium mattress, the conversion happens much better offline. And I think exactly like you said, a lot of research happens online. So customers come in and they've shortlisted 1 or 2 or 3 products, and then they want to touch and feel. So I think people are willing to spend up to 15,000 rupees to buy a reasonably standard online product. But if they're going to buy a premium product, and if they're looking at it as an investment,
both of you don't.
I'll just button here, but in case of and vice versa is also true. So if I take off my website, or let's say if I shut down my website for 2 months, the stores won't do what they're doing. The sale will trickle to 20, not more than 20-30% of what they're doing. So both the channels are needed. In high value categories, both touch points are needed. In low value categories, a single touch point might just do it.
YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance. YES Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
Harsh, let me ask you, I mean, the absence of, a broker I can go to and say, मेरी इतनी income है, मैं कहाँ invest करूँ, as opposed to just typing something online, do you think people are very comfortable with the idea already of just having an online brokerage? Or do you think some people would still want to go to a person they can touch and feel and see and talk to and vent to? I mean, what's been your experience on that front?
So, see, financial services have been the reason why the penetration couldn't happen for so long was, one, people perceive them to be complex, and there is a lot of trust that needs to be built before you are able to do that. So it's not that overnight an offline model will shift to a completely online model and people will start investing or doing SIPs or even transacting online. But the trust building is a lot part of it is technology has made it simpler. It's made it more transparent. Now on the app or on the website, you can see the complete data, which otherwise was a black box for you when the guy used to walk in your home or office and they will sell you some products and it's just a black box. Now if you see those things, because it's available for you, and the speed at which you can place transaction, the queries per second or the transaction per second, the volume at which we operate, those are not possible in an offline world. I mean, that level, that scale is just not possible. And there is a mix of the technology that plays in our space, and especially the financial space, where there's a trust and access at one side, which is much more simpler, making it easy for users. But on the other side, which is making the tech work, the supporting people right now, offline it's easy. People have the perception, I can just call, I know the person, I will go in his place. But if you're able to build that support perception and the support service, that customer can call you anytime. Like we support 24/7 support at this volume. It's all because of the technology you're able to do that, because if you just had to put as many people as much queries can come, it's just not possible. You do fraud detection at this level, I think, whether it's an identity fraud or it's a PMLA, all those things, checks are built to be able to cater to the difference between what otherwise people would have done offline, but now you're able to switch to online. And this builds trust. And now people are much more comfortable. If you see the growth in the industry, I think especially in the stock side, there'll be 80-85% people coming in are just now online. So that change has happened.
Akash, I suppose you would have had a similar experience, but let me just touch upon the topic of frauds, because it's sort of become a checkbox to talk about data security, cyber security, whenever you talk about anything digital. But just give us an example, Akash, because the nature of these cyber attacks are also getting more sophisticated, because anybody, I mean, XYZ can write a program in an English language today to, do some harm if they want. How are you staying a step ahead of people like that, and especially in this age of ever-evolving, complicated, sophisticated technology?
There are multiple things in place when you talk about cybercrime and fraud, right? It's not just about, hacking a system or using something technology to, like steal a data. I think we are much past to it. I think due to the recent releases around tokenization, data storage practices, a lot of things are secured. But a lot of new cybercrimes are happening at a psychology level of the people, right? Where they get tricked, right? Where people exploit someone's fear, someone's greed, and someone's desire to do something, and they just play around it. So the nature keeps evolving, right? Obviously, we need to continue to grow the awareness in the ecosystem where they don't, do the things which they're not supposed to do. Plus, systems have to be.
Don't share your OTPs.
That is a bare minimum, right? People, I think they know they don't have to share OTP, but there are certain scenarios where they believe I'm sharing the OTP to the right person, right? So the scenario is the difficulty here. The second thing I'm saying, there are a lot of, the systems could be built which can detect these kind of anomalies, right, about certain behavior. Suppose I don't go to a website and, make a payment within 10 seconds. But in a certain given day, if I'm doing it, someone should tell me, right, is that really you or someone else is trying to steal your credential? So that kind of intelligence is being built in the system, right, which can, which can find the difference in the behavior and can alert you when things are not, the way you have been, using certain things.
Would you say in the last couple of years, the number of frauds that you're seeing or the attempts to hack, have they gone up significantly?
I think it has increased definitely in the numbers, right? Because market is also increasing, right? Look at like 5 years back, there were less than 100 million people who can transact online. Now that number is more than 400 to 500 million. So that market has increased. The percentage of fraud is not that high, but number of absolute number is definitely much higher, and which is what we have to combat. And in next few years, this will reduce. Again, that is part of growth of any new segment, right? Payments, internet, online payment is very new segment. It's just 10-year-old, and people have to secure it in the initial stage. But beyond a point, I think we'll have enough safety measure to make it minimal. But I think to making it zero is a very hard problem, right? It means there's no crime in the country, and we have to be make everything foolproof, which is not goes hand in hand with the innovation.
Okay, Matthew, sorry to jump from topic to topic, but since again we're back to the mattresses here, something like that, you always, when you're talking about this digital transformation, how do you marry it with sustainability?
I think it's very easy to play a lot of lip service to sustainability, but
Just like cybersecurity.
yeah, honest answer is it's damn hard. But I think the good thing with India is actually a natural recycling economy. So most of us, when we finish using a mattress, we'll give it to our maids or drivers. So it at least gets a second life. And so a mattress which we would use for maybe 7 to 8 years normally gets extended to about 12 years. But what's really difficult right now is to arrange the logistics to collect an old mattress or an old piece of furniture, take it back and recycle it, because it's a very heavy, bulky, and at this point, very unhygienic product. So the last thing you want to do is take it back into a fully sanitized factory and try to recycle it. So what we're actually doing is the industry has come together. So all the competitors are working together to set up recycling sort of facilities in each city. So one per city, which is not owned by any of us, but is actually outsourced to. So there's some good new young startups like Kabadiwala who are doing things like this for us. It's in an early pilot stage. It's not yet commercially viable. So we're trying to reach a stage where we can get back enough economic value from the recycling to make this genuinely sustainable. I don't have an answer today, unfortunately. I wish we did, but not yet.
Fair enough. We'll take that. With very little time left. So, Gaurav, I quickly wanted to ask from you, as you look at your future growth at Bluestone, how much of the incremental revenue do you expect will continue to come from digital versus your physical presence? Because earlier you were telling us how it's indispensable to have a physical presence. So, where does each figure in the larger scheme of things for you when you look at your growth in future?
Sure. So I think it's very difficult. In fact, it's impossible. The way we have provided the experience, the way we have built our system, it's almost impossible to quantify a transaction or an order as an online order or an offline order. 70 to 80% of the orders that we are receiving, they are originating online and converting in stores, right? So online is doing a lot of selling. Something like, let's say, buying a car. So if you're buying car in today's world, you will do a lot of research online to the extent that you would zero in on 2 or 3 models online before you walk into a dealership, touch the car, spend some time with it, take a test drive, and then decide from those 3 to 4 choices that you have made, right? So online and offline both are playing a very important role here. I think on the contrary, a person who still has a black and white view of the world, let's say online only or offline only, I have said those are the businesses and those are the folks who are going to struggle a lot more going forward. And people who actually have a customer first view, with online and offline being two channels and tools available to you, I think that is the right way to look at it and build the business.
Harsh, Akash, Matthew, Gaurav, thank you all for being such wonderful panelists and candidly asking everything that we're throwing at you. And thank you all again for patiently listening. Thank you.
Yes Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.